Hello, everyone, and welcome to Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com, the number one Superman fan site in the world. I've got our names mixed up down the bottom, but I will figure that out in a second and get us back to where we should be. My name is Steve Eunice. This is our June 17th, 2024 show. We were supposed to be interviewing Josie Campbell, the co-producer of My Adventures with Superman. Sadly, once again, for the third week in a row, she has pulled out due to illness. But we have managed to secure the interview via just an email. So she will be answering all our questions that we'd planned here on the show, including some of the ones that our fans had submitted. And we will be posting that up on the website tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. But joining me as always are my good friends Michael Bailey and Mark Lax. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Hello, Steve.
I am doing well. Michael, I'm going to you've doubled up yourself now, Michael. So let me
Two Michaels are better than one. Let me tell you.
let me do this. Let me see how I go. I'm going to put Michael solo. I'm going to add
But which one is me?
me. Oh, no, that's the wrong way. Me is solo. Michael to the left. Mark to the right, and now we are as we should
There
be.
we go.
There we go. Our names are correctly positioned. Our faces are in the positions that they should be. I want to thank our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. Thank you for your support. If you'd like to join those fine folks and be a supporter of Superman Homepage Live, all you have to do is go to supermanhomepage.com. Actually, just click the join button there on YouTube. There are different levels of membership with different levels of perks. Or you can go to patreon.com/supermanhomepage. And we want to thank everyone tuning in live with us tonight. Thank you for your company. We appreciate your company with us tonight, spending this next hour with us. Gentlemen, how are you? Michael, what's been going on in your world this week?
It's hot. It is full on summer, and I'm miserable because of that. But other than that, it's fine.
And Mark, you got your hat on again, having a bad hair day?
Hopefully get the haircut this week, and we'll see.
I know all about
but-
those.
Like Mike, that heat is coming up here. We're going to be near 100 this week. So
Okay, well, I'll just
it's
put
gonna be
my
bad.
hood
and
on.
you'll warm yourself up. Yeah.
Now, Steve, don't do that. You look like you're about to deliver a manifesto. I mean, it's just
Please.
this is the internet. You want to kind of not look. Try not to look like that.
No, we are going to power through tonight. We've organised a regular show, cobbled together all the topics that we need to discuss, and we will start with the movie side of things as we normally do. And I wanted to start with first, before we get into the movie news, June 12th, which we kind of skipped over mentioning last week, was Superman Day. And so we celebrated Superman Day as we do annually since Man of Steel was announced as it was Man of Steel Day, then they changed it to Superman Day, back to kind of work in with that film back in the day, back in 2013. But so now for over 11 years now, we've been celebrating Superman Day on June 12th. So gentlemen, I hope you had a wonderful Superman Day.
Yeah, had a lot of fun. You've got a fancy graphic there. I kind of cobbled together a really cheap-looking one as well, and no, it was a lot of fun. It's funny that you kind of have to explain it now. It seems that people are forgetting what happened 11 years ago, which doesn't surprise me, but still. So it's like, why are we still celebrating this? Because it's fun. Why not?
Exactly.
My question is, how long has there been a Batman Day?
That's been around a while.
Roughly
Has it been longer than-
around the same.
Oh, really?
I
Okay.
think they started that in 2014 for his 75th, and then it just carried on from there. So his is, you see, it's like his is Easter and Superman is Christmas, because Batman Day moves every year. It's like the second or third Saturday of every September. So it's just really weird.
I just want to make sure the Superman Day has been a little longer than Batman Day.
We need to stop feeling
I know,
like we
I
need to
know.
prove ourselves to Batman. It's fine.
And I love Batman too, but yeah, no, hey.
Yeah, it's weird because people are going, isn't that like in April or something when Action Comics #1 was released, or isn't that February 29th when his birthday? We've got so many days, and Michael is right. Every day is Superman Day, so
Yes.
just because we nominate special days, every day is Superman Day in our world. So just another excuse to celebrate the Man of Steel. All right, well, let's push on with the movie stuff, as I mentioned. And so after a Superman Day, we've now heard about some movie sets being constructed in Cleveland, Ohio, the birthplace of Superman, where Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster lived when they came up with Superman back in the 1930s. And some interesting photos have emerged from Cleveland that people have been showing us. This is really weird. Now, there's a number of things here to kind of pick out about this image that's in front of us right now. It's called the Daily Planet. So people have been touting this as the logo for the Daily Planet newspaper that's on there on the left-hand side of that window. As far as I can see, this is a bookstore.
Yeah,
Bought and sold here.
That's just saying that, yeah.
Bestsellers and favorites, available 7 days a week. It's a bookstore. So I don't know if this is there maybe a real Daily Planet bookstore in Cleveland, Ohio that someone's just taken a photo of, or is this really a set that dressing for, on an actual shop front that they're going to be using for the film? It's weird because it's got Reeves Avenue, and people are going, it's Christopher Reeve. There's no S. I'm going, you've forgotten about George Reeves. And people go, yeah, but what's the G? Isn't it should be G Reeves? And actually, to me, that's like North Reeves Avenue. In other words, there's this north and a south.
I think this is a set. I think they put the Daily Planet thing there, and it's just something that the North Reeves Avenue. I'm sure there is a North Reeve Avenue as well that also has a bookstore on it, and it just confuses everybody in Metropolis. But no, I mean, it's just like, I think people are putting way too much thought into what is probably something that's you're barely going to see on the screen.
Yeah, it's so true. But yeah, this doesn't look like the head, the masthead of a newspaper logo to me. I mean, it just looks like, it could be. And, maybe we're not getting the usual type of font that we get for the Daily Planet news head, but masthead. But I mean, the books is the same logo, same font as the Daily Planet beneath it. So it just kind of was a bit confusing to me. So I'm thinking this isn't the Daily Planet logo as such.
No, I don't think it is either.
No. I mean, sometimes, if they're selling certain newspapers at a certain place, they will put the logo of that paper on there, but not necessarily. It just could be their, their own
that's a good
font.
point. Yeah, good point. So anyway, we'll see. It's interesting, but to discuss this, and like you said, people put way too much emphasis on these little details that they see in these set pieces that you probably won't even see on screen. So we'll wait and see. Mind the Gap says maybe the Daily Planet fell in hard times.
So, when that happens, the globe on the top stops spinning, and then at the end of the story, Superman gets it spinning again.
Yeah, or it falls off and he has to catch it again.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So that's some set pieces filming in Cleveland, Ohio. And James Gunn commemorated today as a year since he cast Rachel Brosnahan and David Corenswet in the movie Superman, which will be on our screens next year. He said that, what did he say here? On pretty much all his social media accounts, he said, 1 year ago today, David and Rachel screen tested for Clark and Lois. When they first read together, it was like magic. What a wonderful year it's been with two of the most extraordinary, vibrant, and meticulous actors I've ever had the opportunity to work with. I can't wait for you to see them on screen in just a little over a year. There you go.
The obligatory, the stars of the movie are reading the comic book.
Yeah, this photo is from a couple of weeks ago. I shared it before, but so that's pretty cool. And he also shared another photo of Chris Pratt there in the baseball cap visiting the set just as a friend, intently looking on the screen as James Gunn standing there on the left-hand side. The director looks on. He said in He's another social media post. Always nice to have friends visiting set. And it's an interesting photo because look at those glowing tents in the background. I saw some Luthor Corp army tanks on that set as well. So Lex is into the military side of things by the look of things too.
That doesn't surprise me.
So yeah, some interesting little details coming out about this upcoming movie, which, as we said, will be on our screens in just over a year on July 11th, 2025. Looking forward to more, without too many spoilers, to come out about this film. I'm just really looking forward to the film itself now.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be like 2006 though, where we like with all those webisodes and stuff like that. I think we had way too much of Superman Returns before we actually saw Superman Returns. So I'm good with not seeing a whole lot before the film actually comes out.
Yeah, I'm with you there. All right, so that's what we know about the Superman movie coming out in 2025. Just a few details this past week to kind of keep our interest. We've had a long history of Superman films trying to be made over the years, and at one stage, there were a couple of actors up for the role, including Jude Law and Matt Bomer. And this past week, they've both done separate interviews where they've spoken about, their time screen testing or being up for the role. This is in like the early 2000s when they were trying to do the Superman flyby version of the film that never got made, based on a script by J.J. Abrams. Brett Ratner was going to direct, and there was so many things happening around about this time. It was a crazy time to be a Superman fan online because we just had rumors left, right, and center. But Jude Law was one of the hot names at the time. Even a British actor, but we've had one of those already play Superman. So he says, he tried on this costume. It was more of a metallic thing, which we've seen, in some photos for Superman Flyby. And he just said, I tried it on, looked in the mirror, and part of me was initially like, wow, this could be, a good thing. But then I just thought, no, you can't do it. You can't do this. You can't. And so he didn't.
No, I mean, that was, you said that was such a weird time, and it really, really was. I remember it was just like checking the Superman homepage every day and just having like the next round of rumors hit. Jude Law, I remember Jude Law, Paul Walker, Brendan Fraser. I don't remember Matt Bomer coming up, but I don't know how well known he was at the time to kind of hit that level of rumor mill. But his reasoning, the reason why he didn't get it is just stupid, in my opinion.
Very stupid.
Yeah. Look, what are your thoughts, Mark?
Well, as far as with Matt Bomer, I mean, he would have been. I mean, I can't say he'd be perfect. Look, I don't know, but just knowing him as an actor and the way he looks and the way he would have been. I think he would have been great. And the reasoning behind what happened is just kind of pathetic, And I mean, I don't know the whole decision, who said what to who, but that's just.
Yeah, we have to take his word. We have to take his word for it. We don't know if that was legitimately the reason why the role was taken away from him, that he was outed as being gay. But people have said, "Oh, that can't be true," because then they end up hiring Bryan Singer, who and his writers who are openly gay, and they did Superman Returns. There's a difference between having a director and having the actor. As far as the argument is concerned, there's no reason for anybody to be discriminated against for any reason of that kind. But there is a difference between, the person behind the camera directing and writing and so forth, and then the actor who's going to be in the spotlight. If that was the reason that they did that, it's ridiculous. I agree with you, and we only have Matt Bomer's word on the reason that he believes why the script, the contract that he had signed was torn up, and things went away. Even at the time, Brett Ratner was signed on to do the movie, and then he pulled the plug, and so for many reasons, the film didn't happen. But Matt Bomer did go on to play Superman in a Japanese car commercial, if you recall. So he did get to play that role and don the costume. So there is that.
Yeah, and he voiced him in Superman Unbound.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, Superman Unbound, indeed. So yeah, some interesting tidbits. Always these movies, we think that we know everything about them, and that everything we could understand about that time has come to light. But there are always little dark secrets and little tidbits that pop up over the years that draw our interest back to that confusing and convoluted time in the Superman movie universe. So interesting articles, both coming out, both interviews happened to be this past week. So I just thought I'd bring that to light. All right, well, let's get on to the TV side of things, where the My Adventures with Superman continues to power on. The animated series is now halfway through season 2. But we do know now officially that it has been renewed for a 3rd season, which is awesome. Yay. I am so happy about that.
Yeah, I was happy about that too, and it kind of, I think, proves that Superman and Lois getting canceled was not as much on the studio side as it was on the network side. Mm-hmm. Because if they weren't wanting competing Superman product, they wouldn't have renewed this program. They would have let this end at season 2 as well. So it's just, 1, don't believe anything you read on the internet. 2, don't believe anything you hear on the internet. 3, believe everything we say.
No, very good. So yeah, it was announced officially that My Adventures with Superman will come back for a 3rd season, which, as you said, Michael, is fantastic because, everyone keeps thinking that just because there's a new movie coming up, that there can't be other projects that will, muddle the universe or confuse people. And I think My Adventures with Superman has proven itself to be completely different to any other version of the character that we have seen in recent time, and will be completely different to the upcoming film, which it's just awesome that this is so entertaining, yet can diverge so differently from what we understand of the Superman universe. We have this past week seen the episode, season 2, episode 5. It was titled Most Eligible Superman, and this was interesting for a number of reasons. It not only gave us our first look at Kara, aka Supergirl, in this universe. We got to see Superman voted most eligible bachelor in Metropolis. We had Silver St. Cloud as a bit of a, wouldn't say love interest, but there was a bit of chemistry there. We saw Jimmy meeting this girl that he didn't know who she was, initially, and they had a nice day out in Metropolis. He introduced her to ice cream and hot dogs, and they had a great day out. But then he realizes that no, he needs to be over at the convention or whatever it is where the most eligible single bachelorette contest is going on, and drags Kara along with him, only to realize that she is the long lost cousin that Clark has been searching for, and she is absolutely mortified at what her cousin is doing. She thinks he's soft. She thinks he's entertainment value for the people of this world. She doesn't obviously realize that this is just a moment out of time. He's done so many great things, obviously, and saved Metropolis over and over again. But all she sees is this bachelor contest, and is, as I said, mortified about who he is and what he's become, and not retaliates, but acts out, and hijinks ensue.
You and I have different definitions of what hijinks are. This episode kind of brought home to me the idea that sometimes it's not the material, it's the person perceiving the material.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was a really well done episode. I liked, like, I appreciated everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
I was a little put off at Lois having such doubts, doubting herself so much and doubting her uh, ability to be somebody that could be with Superman. That doesn't just strike me as Lois, but it's a different interpretation. She just went through this whole abandonment thing with her dad. So that, but we've seen in the comics at least 2 or 3 times over the last 20 years, this Kara coming to Earth and having this antagonistic relationship with Superman. And it's not that I need everything to be like the Supergirl television series, the live action one. It just seems to be the go-to for people. And I realize that's me. That's not the show. The show is doing exactly what it needs to do. But if you're a fan of Supergirl, it's kind of rough going in other media. So, but other than that, really excellent show. Was very surprised that we got a Silver St. Cloud that wasn't rail thin. And I'm not making a joke on that. I liked that she was a healthy woman, and it was interesting seeing. The legit surprise was the armored figure from the last shot of the previous episode was Supergirl.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was going to be like Brainiac or something, or General Zod, but it was her. So overall, really, really solid episode that I just had one small problem with, but I'm not going to let that ruin the show for me.
Good point.
Well, I mean, I had a few problems myself with it. One of it is also that, from the debut of the more modern Supergirl, I guess you can say, in Batman and Superman Batman, she's always had this darker side. She was supposed to, the whole thing's supposed to look after her cousin, and then her father supposedly set her up to, because he was the bad guy. And I mean, this whole thing, I never quite understood that. I never really quite liked that style. In fact, I think they even, if I'm not mistaken, Smallville also did a little bit of that. Did that as well, or am I getting that wrong?
No, she had a bit of an edge to her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I had a feeling the way she was introduced and all of that at first, that this is not going to go well. That this is not just, the way they introduced her seemed, oh, it's so sweet and funny, her and Jimmy, and this is going to be all great, and she's going to see Superman and hug him. And I said, no, something's not right. And yeah, it turned out I wouldn't call her a villain or a bad guy. There's probably, I don't know if she's under the influence or she just truly believes this and will come around. I don't know. But I did have a problem with that. I liked the most eligible, and I liked, as Mike said, Silver St. Cloud being a full-figured woman. And actually everybody on that panel, save for maybe Hank Henshaw, I liked all the representation. It was a good episode. Lois having these doubts, though, like they're going to break up, and it's like, oh, come on. I mean, just let's not really go there. I can understand she has doubts, but trying to put in her head like, oh, they're going to break up because of this, because of that, and in the end, they're not going to, or at least it'll work out. So they played that card. But in general, it's a fun episode. I enjoyed it, and the way it ended on that cliffhanger, I'm really looking forward to the next episode.
Yeah, I mean, I've asked some of these questions to Josie Campbell, the co-producer, and who actually wrote this episode of the animated series. Our interview will be up on the website tomorrow. It's just a text-based question and answer interview, and one of the questions was about in this episode where Lois, seems to either be jealous or have doubts about what's going on. And she said she's not jealous in so much as that Lois has this fear of things not lasting because her father was always in and out of her life, and she's got this fear of of things not sticking and not being able to see them through, and so it's more of a fear rather than any doubts about herself. So I can understand that, and John Patrick Van Pelt asks the question: was one of the characters jealous of Lois and Clark going together? Nobody actually knows. I mean, so Cat Grant and obviously the Daily Planet staff know that Lois and Clark are a couple, but nobody knows that Lois and Superman are a couple because no one knows that Superman, other than Jimmy, that Superman is Clark Kent. It was more that there seemed to be some chemistry between Silver St. Cloud and Superman up on the stage. You know, she had her hand on his arm and she was leaning suggestively over towards him. And, and then Cat Grant assumes that Superman must be dating one of the other contestants in the contest because they're all beautiful people and have all achieved so much. So would only be right that Superman must be with one of them. And when Lois suggests, why, it could be with me, I'm the one who named him, I'm the one who interviewed him, Kat absolutely kills herself laughing and thinks that's a ridiculous idea, which obviously is another kind of kick to the head for Lois's, ego, I guess, or just her self-esteem that nobody thinks that, even that she's even worthy of Superman's interest, but we all know better. So yeah, nobody was confused about it. Just Cat Grant is like, yeah, you and Clark, you've got your thing, and that's cute and that's great. But Superman, just he's another level. So you're definitely out of his realm of possibilities. So that was kind of funny. That I think that's where that was going with that question. So hopefully that answers your query, John. So yeah, there was that. But we had Hank Henshaw go on a rant about Superman and he being a menace, and I was glad to see that Silver St. Cloud voiced what everybody else in the room was thinking. Like, no, Superman is a hero. Don't you remember that he saved Metropolis when, the parasite and that big, monster tried to break the whole city? And so, yeah, Superman, the fact that he is the most eligible bachelor and was voted that shows us that the populace still loves him and still vouches for him. It's just this small enclave of, Hank Henshaw, Lex Luthor, Amanda Waller, this dark cabal in the background who is against him and wants to bring him down.
Yeah, I think one of the undercurrents of this season is secrets, in terms of people keeping things from each other. It came out that Lois finally inadvertently lets Clark know about the job offer, but he didn't have a chance to tell her about Kara, because then Kara came and started a ruckus, and then Jimmy blames himself for Lex rising to power. So this is definitely your kind of your sophomore season in terms of just playing with all the dynamics that they set up in the first season. This is the season to torture your viewers, and that's kind of how I'm viewing things, and not in a bad way. It's just how you want to do it. It was kind of like Superman and Lois at the very beginning of that season. There seemed to be something really wrong with Lois, and then it all comes out what the problem was, and everything kind of works out. So this is everybody's new. This is a universe that is unfolding. And I really hope something bad happens to Hank Henshaw because he was a jerk.
Yeah, and we got Supergirl, Kara. She's not Supergirl yet. As you said, in that Kryptonian costume, that armor, which ends up breaking. And Superman develops or exhibits a new power where it's some kind of beam or power comes out of his mouth this time. I did ask Josie about that, Josie Campbell, and there will be an answer in our interview tomorrow that you'll see on the website. But I can tell you it's not a new power as such. It's more a different version of an existing power.
I thought it was super breath.
Yeah,
and when I saw him doing it.
Yeah, it looked like a beam to me, but she does. Yeah, she does come out and say that it is their version of super breath. So that was an interesting one. But she also talks about and answers our question about Superman having that power of being able to put like a force field around things that he holds or that he touches. So look for that interview, as I said, on our website tomorrow. Some interesting answers there. But
I haven't read it yet.
No,
I haven't read it yet. But $5 says it's an aura that he's able to extend outward, like in the Byrne comics.
Correct.
All right. Okay, I'll collect my winnings later.
All right.
But yeah, we've got Brainiac as the voice that is kind of leading Kara and ordering her, and he's almost like a father figure to her. So it's like she's been adopted by Brainiac, and he calls her Scion and asks her to comply. And some very interesting kind of a dynamic there. She obviously has a symbol that looks very much like the Zod symbol on her jacket or her vest when we first see her as Kara. But then when we see her in the outfit, the Kryptonian armor, it's got the S symbol on it that Superman has. So it's just going to be really interesting to see where her character arc goes, because she is being set up as the antagonist of this season.
Yeah, and it's also one of those things is that we're in season 5 of a 10-episode season. So just because right now she's kind of like the bad guy, it's not like the most ideal introduction. That was something else I was thinking about yesterday after I watched it is, because I had a really negative reaction to it at first. I was just like, I don't like this. They're making evil Kara. And I'm just like, well, we're really early into this. So maybe I'll be mature and kind of that. Okay, that sounded a little arrogant. I'm not saying that if you reacted negatively to it that you're immature. That's not the point I'm trying to make at all. I'm speaking only for my behavior, because I can act like a petulant child sometimes, and I need to remind myself. I have to check myself before I wreck myself. I guess that's the way to say that.
Very good. All right. Well, anything we want to finish off with before we look at the next episode promo?
No, I'm good.
Good. Pretty much said it all.
All right. Well, here is the promo for the upcoming 6th season episode titled "The Machine Who Would Be Empire." Take a look. Here it is.
The next all-new episode of My Adventures with Superman.
What's happening? You kidnapped me?
Yes. Someone had to extricate you from that backwater planet. You're welcome.
Am I in outer space? What's going on?
You can't just hold people against their will.
Where am I?
My Adventures with Superman. New episode next Saturday at midnight on Toonami. Next day on Max.
So there you have it. Superman in outer space.
Did either of you see Jack Quaid's debate and facing off against Anthony Starr about who would win in a fight between Superman and Homelander?
No, I saw a mention of it. What was the outcome?
Well, one, Jack Quaid is afraid of Anthony Starr, so I'm sure that they weren't like together. It was like they were filming them separately, but it was basically Jack Quaid, of course, was arguing that Superman would win, and Anthony Starr said Homelander would cheat and just start grabbing people and use them as human shields and such. So that's ultimately why he would win.
Very good.
But that's what every superpowered being thinks.
Yes. All right. We'll look forward to this next episode, the 6th episode of season 2. Kidnapped and far from home, Superman bonds with his cousin Kara. He discovers the truth about Krypton from the last Kryptonians in existence. That's interesting. From the last Kryptonians, plural. So we'll wait and see how that pans out. And that is Sunday, June 23rd, midnight. That is the morning. Saturday, June 22nd, if you want to do it that way. So that's coming up. We look forward to that. All right, so that is our discussion of My Adventures with Superman. We're going to play some quick messages, come back on the flip side, and do our costume analysis of Tyler Hoechlin's Superman and Lois costumes. And we'll be back right after these messages. Don't go anywhere. We've also got the This Week in History, if we can fit it in, and your fan favorite question answers. Here we go.
We'll be back in a moment with the exciting climax of today's episode. So stand by.
If you're enjoying Superman Homepage Live, then please like and share this video with your family and friends. Also, if you'd like to subscribe to our YouTube channel, then you can click on the bell to receive notifications whenever we post a new video. You can also join our YouTube membership program, just click the join button below. Or you can become a patron and support our website by going to patreon.com/Superman Homepage.
Look, up in the sky.
It's a bird.
It's a plane. No, it's SupermanHomepage.com, the #1 Superman fan site in the world. SupermanHomepage.com, covering the world of Superman from the 1930s to today. News, reviews, rumors, and reports. SupermanHomepage.com for all your Superman comics, TV shows, movies, cartoons, radio shows, and more. Everything you ever wanted to know about the Man of Steel and more. SupermanHomepage.com.
Thanks, Superman Homepage, for all the support over the years. I really appreciate it.
I'm Matt Bomer. I'm the voice of Superman and Superman Unbound, and this is the Superman Homepage.
Right here on Superman Homepage.
When evil's on the rise, quick change Superman takes to the sky. I got the power of Superman. Wow! To stop Superman, evil Lex Luthor will go to any length, but he's no match for deep dive Superman's awesome strength. I got the power of Superman. You've got the power. Superman figures, each sold separately.
Ah, those were the days.
That is the worst jingle ever.
Got the power of Superman. All right.
I mean, you've got a cartoon with a theme song. I mean, maybe maybe they didn't want to pay for that. That's entirely possible.
Maybe. All right, let's get into, I think it's episode 10 of our series of Superman costume analysis, where this week we are looking at the costume of Tyler Hoechlin from Superman and Lois. Last week we looked at the Supergirl version of his costume. This week we're going to look at the versions, kind of plural, but in totality, of Tyler Hoechlin's costume for Superman and Lois. It has had some minor changes, some kind of color variations. The belt's kind of changed a little bit. The boots have changed somewhat. But all in all, it's pretty much been a similar look for the most part. So let's get into having a look at how the costume looks and picking apart what we think of the costume, starting with the cape. And thankfully, the clasps, the buckles, the attachments, whatever you want to call them, they're gone. Here we have Superman tucking in the cape under the collar, and this is a much better look for me.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I think the collar itself is at a good. It's not too high up, so it's not like a New 52 look. Even though some of the other parts of the costume kind of look like that. But yeah, the cape being tucked in how it is looks just spot on, perfect.
Mm-hmm. And Mark,
I mean, again, not being a fan of the buckles. It's tucked in as Superman's suit normally is tucked in at the neck, and it's a good collar. It just looks really good.
Yeah, and the length is great as far as I'm concerned. It's just the right length. You know, it's down around about just above ankle height, about around the Achilles heel type of look. So that's pretty good for me. I'm happy with the length of that, and the material, as you said, looks great. It's a great vibrant red.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So then we look into the body of the costume, and here is like another one close-up of one. I think this is like season 1, season 2 costume, where we've got that ribbing type of, they've got the mesh type of look. There's some, different lines and seams on it. It has changed a little bit over time. We've seen in here, in this one of the most recent costumes, it's got like an almost like a screen printed abs and rib looking to it to kind of give it a bit of shape, less seaming on this one, but in general it hasn't changed too much. The color has kind of changed a little bit from a bit more vibrant blue, then a bit of a more muted blue here, but the seams are gone, that kind of stuff. So it has changed somewhat, but all in all, it's pretty much been a standard look.
Yeah, I much prefer the season 3 one. I don't dislike the season 1 and 2, but the season 3 they gave him less puffy shoulders, which in certain shots in the first 2 seasons looked a little off. But I've been rewatching season 1 recently, and really, even though it's a little off-putting how like top heavy he kind of is, it still looks good. I don't have like really any complaints about that either, outside of the fact that the first 2 seasons it was a little too poofy.
Yeah, I didn't love, especially in the first season. It was very top heavy. It was just looked like he was just so muscular when you know that was not the case. It just looked a little too big for me. I liked it, but it looked a little too big for me. But this one I think is just right. You have the color, it doesn't have all the different little seams on it, and it's just one solid, from the neck down, and no, I think it looks really good.
And then we look at the S, and this is just a close-up of the initial one that we saw. The shape is the same, pretty much what we got in the Supergirl series. The little yellow divots that they had on the top and sides that went with like the gold belt buckle things has gone. It's just a bit more of like they're just a blue, but they're kind of still there. It's almost like an attachment type of thing. But as we saw here, it has changed from season to season a little bit. The shape of it is still the same, but here it's more fabric and part of the costume as far as the mesh look is concerned. Where in the later seasons, it's been a bit more of an applique that kind of stands out a bit more as a shinier, more not plastic, but definitely not material looking thing.
Yeah, I absolutely love the season 3 one. I didn't mind the season 1 and 2 one. I thought the S was a good size. I thought it looked good on the costume. This one it just looks better, and I think it's because they've trimmed down the suit itself, so the S symbol kind of stands out more. Though I will say, the 3D quality of this. Did you guys ever have sisters that had like those little like plastic things that you put a piece of paper over and rub with like a color pencil and it puts a design on the paper?
Yes, yep.
That's kind of that's kind of what the S looks like. Like you could put like some paper over there and just make a little image of it. But no, it's like with the season 3 costume, I'm like almost like no notes. You guys got it on lock now.
I liked the S. I wouldn't say I liked this better when it was part of the costume. It was more like we would see in the comics. But I do like the way the S, the one, the third season, the S does look a little different. And I like it's still faithful, but there's just something a little bit different about it, and I kind of like that they're making it. It's almost like they're making that particular S their own thing. Now, what happens in the fourth season, I couldn't tell you whether it's the same, but I do like. I mean, I never like when it's a raised shield. But I do like the way this one looks. I like the style of the S.
They've given it that image or that idea of being a raised S with some that embossing type of look, but it's not necessarily like the Superman Returns costume where it was actually, bulky and embossed. So there is that to give it. Then we look down at the belt. Obviously, there are no trunks here, but we do have a red belt that has a kind of weird little diamond-shaped, S-shield-shaped buckle that has some kind of, it looks like an image, a Kryptonian image or something in the middle there, but it stands out in this particular photo. You don't really see it too much in other photos, but it's an interesting, it kind of breaks up the costume. There's a hint of yellow on the buckle there, as I said, but in general, it's just pretty much red, and an interesting kind of dipping design that is not just straight across the whole belly.
Yeah, I love the belt. I like how it breaks up the costume just right. I like how the buckle itself is the shape of the symbol, but it's not like the Superman Returns belt that had the symbol like obvious on it. So yeah, just really well done.
Yeah, and it did change from season to season. As you can see, season 3's got a bit more of a different feel to it around the sides, where this one had like up and down segments to it. This has got more of a kind of a design, almost like a timber, like what you'd see on the back of a chair, with some engraving.
I'll agree with that.
The last picture, not this one, the one you just showed before, is that third season or that's the second season? This one right here.
Yeah, I think that's more from the first or second season.
First or second, okay. Because I was just going to say, these belt buckles don't need any. They don't need a design. They don't need the S. They don't need whatever that particular thing is. The solid color is fine. So the one for the third season, now I think that looks just right. Okay. Again, yeah, it has a shield, but it doesn't necessarily need the S shield, and it breaks it up. I mean, we're dealing with these suits now that don't have the trunks. So, you need the belt or something to really, to break it up. And sometimes they're a little too thin or too thick. But this one, I think, is just right for the suit.
Very good. And then we look at the S. We looked at the S already. Then we look down at the boots. Now, this was from, I think, the season 1. And these were weird kind of boots that had a stunted look to them. We didn't have the familiar little dip at the front. But then as the season, we've got these ones where are much more like the design of the Superman boot, with a little dip at the front on the shin, bit more of a bulkier, like a leather boot look here. But some interesting designs over the seasons that have had. This is more like the Supergirl costume, but where these are a bit more Superman-esque.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious the behind the scenes on the changing the costume. Was it that they didn't like how it was looking before, or is this something that, because the Flash costume would change and evolve over the seasons as well.
Yep.
So, but it seems like if you're putting that much money into a costume, you kind of want to stick with one design. Having said that, I'm glad they went with the new boots. They do look more like the traditional Superman boots with the V design. So yeah, again, the I don't think we've hit Super Saiyan yet with the costume design, but we're almost there.
Mark.
No, I think they look good. I mean, I always like boots that look a little sleeker. Not as much as, say, the work boot. Although this isn't as much the work boot as I think it was a Superman Returns that really had that kind more, more that work boot look. And this isn't as bad as that. And that's not bad. I like it. Just like I said, I like something a little bit more sleeker, but it looks really good. Yeah. I mean, when you first see it, I mean, it really does. It fits the whole suit, and is certainly a little more faithful, I think, to what we're kind of used to.
Exactly. Then we've got Tyler himself, and say what you will about the 5 o'clock shadow. It's constant. People, why Superman doesn't shave? Why isn't he clean shaven? But other than that, which I've kind of gotten used to over that he's just a bit more of a weathered, older Superman, and that's their thing. That's what they're going with here, and it works for him. I like, the hair is a bit more of a bouffant, not as much as it was in that very first image we got from him from Supergirl, but it suits him here. And he's got the great look. He's got a pretty handsome face and a pretty good jaw for it. And I like his Superman. I like his Clark Kent a bit better. He just seems to be a bit of a softer Clark Kent. But I think his Superman is good just the same. I prefer it when he's smiling than when he's angry, and he kind of gets angry a fair bit in certain scenes, which when he's fighting villains, you expect that.
The thing about the 5 o'clock shadow, and the hair is, I think people kind of forget that every live action Superman has looked similar, but they've all had their own distinctive traits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Dean Cain had the slicked back hair, so did George Reeves. You know, Henry Cavill kind of had different style, like his hair would change subtly, but that kind of was like that distinguishing trait. You know, Christopher Reeve looked like a Neil Adams drawing. And this Superman just has a 5 o'clock shadow. He's got a lot going on. He doesn't have a time to stop and shave every 5 minutes. So I just, the things people like pick at, I mean, and like I'm picky too, but you know, maybe I'm just getting old and just going the opposite of what you usually do. But I think he looks great. I've never had any problems except for maybe that first promotional still where it looked like he was trying to do like, you know, 50s Superman as like a rockabilly star. But, you know, other than that, you know, it just looks great.
Yeah.
I never had a problem with the 5 o'clock shadow. I never really thought that much about it until everybody started on, you know, the Superman doesn't shave, blah, blah, blah. I don't care. It never bothered me. He's got that, you know, the hair is fine. He's got that kind of chiseled look. You know, I mean, all these guys are good looking, so it doesn't really matter. But you know, his face, his chin, the 5 o'clock shadow, everything to me looks really good.
Yeah. So out of 10, I'm giving this Superman and Lois costume a solid 7.
I'm going to give it an 8 overall. I especially season 3. I really like it. And just for Steve there, get off my lawn.
I'm giving it an 8. An 8.
Excellent. Very good. Well done. So that's our episode 10 of the costume analysis of Superman and Lois's costume or costumes for Tyler Hoechlin. We'll look back maybe next week. What have we got? Have we got anybody left? I think we're looking maybe doing the Superboy ones. We kind of did skip
What about
those.
Brandon Routh's Kingdom Come one?
Yeah, we got that as well to do.
Oh,
Yeah, no.
And don't forget the pilot episode with Tyler, what he wore the very first.
Yeah, in the flashback,
costume
the
his mom made for
Fleischer version. Yeah, we can look at that as well. So there's a few we can do. So we'll go 13, maybe 14 episodes. We'll see how we go. If there's anything you want to see us cover, make sure you send that our way as well. All right, let's move on to the fan favorite question of our show. All right, Michael, what was our fan favorite question from last week?
It's what is your favorite Clark Kent comic book cover? And Rommel wrote in with, my favorite Clark Kent cover is Action Comics number 409 by Nick Carty, February 1972. A split personality story that predates Superman 3.
I'm bringing that up right now. They're all coming. Hang on a second. They're all just loading right now. There we go. There it is. Is that the one?
I believe. Yep, that's it.
That's the one. All right, I'll turn off these others in the background. And you got to excuse me, folks. I was scrambling to get this episode together after Josie pulled the plug on us. So that was Rommel. Thank you very much, Rommel, for that cover. Next up.
Kenny Crowley Jr. wrote, hey guys, here are some of my favorite Clark Kent covers. There was a lot to choose from here. Here are some of the ones I like. Thanks, Steve, Michael, and Mark for all you do with the website and with Superman Homepage Live.
There you go. These are some of Kenneth's ones here. Some of his Clark Kent. Just bring that one bit. There we go. That's an interesting one of Clark. And then, this is always a popular one. Clark being very. You got to be careful, Clark, where you position that cover. And then there's this one here as well, and another there for Kenneth. So thank you, Kenneth, for showing us those. Next up, we have JP Rocha, and JP sent in this cover saying, a great Clark Kent cover is Superman number 28 from the Tomasi Gleason run. This patriotic cover by Ryan Stook with the Kent family is a great tribute to heroes. Great cover, great issue. Thank you, JP.
Lorenzo Valdez writes, for my favorite Clark Kent cover, I hereby submit the cover to Superman, The Harvests of Youth graphic novel. It's got Clark, it's got Lana, and they're in a picturesque field in Smallville, which is pretty much my ultimate recipe for a cover. Not only that, but Clark is wearing the cape on this cover without the rest of the Superman suit, hinting at his future destiny and calling to the mind the beautiful final flashback scene in Man of Steel, in which Jonathan and Martha look on as a young Clark poses with a cape flowing behind him.
Thank you. Very nice. That's great. Thank you, Lorenzo. Next up.
Ryan Ignatius Pratt wrote, not counting Sherbrooke covers, I would say that my favorite Clark Kent covers would be from Superman, the Man of Steel number 66, and Superman, the Man of Steel number 74, both by the super team of John Bogdanov and Dennis Janke. Both covers made an impression upon me since first seeing them back in the 1990s.
Yeah, these were some great covers too. So thank you for that one, Ryan. Excellent. Thank you, everyone, for sending in your favorite Clark Kent covers for the fan favorite segment of our show. Mark, what is our new fan favorite question for this week?
Our new question is, what is your favorite Daily Planet comic book cover?
Yeah, that's the email address at the bottom of your screen now, info@supermanhomepage.com. Send your favorite Daily Planet comic book covers to that email address, and we will display them next week when we get back to the fan favorite segment of our show. Doesn't look like we're going to get time to do This Week in History, Michael. I appreciate the fact that you always send it to me just in case. Once we get the costume analysis series out of the way, I'm guessing we'll have much more time for that, as well as being able to get...
I was thinking about that. Maybe we should do Clark Kent's.
Ooh. I like that idea.
Because we can then cycle back through everybody and look at the different Clark Kent designs and kind of judge those on a different scale.
Yeah.
But just, how did they look as Clark Kent and who, just judging it like that.
I like that idea. I think we'll definitely go with that. That'll continue on our series of analyses well down into the future. So awesome idea. Love it. Brainstorming here live on Superman homepage. Awesome. Mind the Gap saying, what about Tom Welling's proto suits? We could do those.
Yeah, we could do those. I mean, I hope you guys are prepared for me to complain about that leather jacket from the final season, which I hated. God, I hated that thing. I know some people love that thing, but I always thought it looked really bad. just to kind of push that out.
Put that out there there you go. All right, so we will return next week with another episode of Superman Homepage Live. We'll be back on Monday, June 24th, for the final episode of June. Of course, it's 30 days in June, so we will be doing our regular monthly segment. We'll do the Super Secret Soundbite next week as well. As I said, we'll try to get Josie Campbell on at the end of season 2, now that she's kind of let us know that she's not doing any live interviews. She has pulled out sick for us again tonight, but has indicated that maybe we shouldn't reschedule until a while down the track. So we will try to get her on Superman Homepage Live, maybe at the end of season 2, like we did at the end of season 1, so we can talk about the whole of the season and now look forward to season 3. So there is that to look forward to. But we'll be back, as I said, 7:30 p.m. Pacific time next week on June 24th. Hope you'll join us then. Thank you to our sponsors and patrons, Douglas Meacham, John Patrick Van Pelt, and Tina Murray. Thank you to everyone who joined us live as our viewers tonight. We really appreciate your participation in the comments as well. So thank you for being with us, and we appreciate your company. Thank you to my co-hosts, Michael Bailey and Mark Lax. Thank you, gentlemen.
Pleasure as always.
Thank you, Steve.
I will see you guys next week. Until then, don't forget we have a Superman homepage interview, exclusive interview with Josie Campbell. That will be a text-based interview up on our website tomorrow. Look for that with all the questions that maybe you submitted for our live interview that didn't happen tonight. But I'm Steve Eunice on behalf of Michael Bailey and Mark Lax. Thank you for joining us on Superman Homepage Live, brought to you by supermanhomepage.com.